Hello, my name is Trevor Erickson, and today we're going to review how to remove all of the links from the Cloud Service Appliance web interface. The reason we are going to do this is many organizations don't like the exposure of these different services out to the public world. Again, anyone out there can browse to your CSA interface and see these different links. And theoretically, someone could easily click on this console link here, get prompted to authenticate, and initiate a brute force attack trying to get into your management interface. That's usually the biggest concern with exposing that easily via this interface. So again, what we're going to look to do here is remove the links completely so that they're not advertised. However, the services themselves, the features behind it, will still be accessible. In a future series, we're going to look into completely disabling those features so that they're not accessible, but the goal of this particular walkthrough here is just to remove these links and kind of obscure this page. Okay, so we're going to start by going back to FileZilla. We covered some of the tools we'll be using to make these changes in part 1 of the series. So if you haven't seen that yet, you might want to start over there just so you can see all these tools and why we're using them. But quick synopsis is that we'll be using FileZilla to transfer files to and from the CSA. We'll be using PuTTY to repermission some of those files, and Notepad++ to edit the files themselves. Anyway, so back to FileZilla. So the first thing we're going to do is make our connection to our CSA. Assuming that's all working for you, you'll make your connection. Again, what you do is put in the address of your CSA here, the admin credentials, the password, and port 22. That should be able to connect you through to the CSA so long as you have SSH services enabled on your CSA. So I've made my connection here. I'm going to browse to the root, which I'm there. Then I'm going to go to OPT, LANDESK, broker, and web root. Okay, and on the left hand side you can see here I've got some Brenner Brown stuff, CSA, an original folder. So you want to create a folder where you're going to copy this stuff to. In my case, I'm going to copy it to this orig folder. And today's file that we're working with is this index.tmpl file here. So I'm going to download that. Okay, so I now have it on my local file system. Let me open that up. Desktop, Brenner Brown, CSA, orig. So there it is. I'm going to copy it out of my orig folder because I want to keep that original file in case I ever want to restore it back to its default. So now here's my working copy. I'm going to edit it with a text editor. In this case, I'll use Notepad++. And you can see here we've got basic HTML. It's defining the head section of the page, the body section of the page. So if we want to get rid of those links, it's quite simple. We're going to remove this line. So this is adding a table of list items, and it uses the instantiated applications. So somewhere in the background of the CSA, it's producing some content here. All we need to do if we want to get rid of those is delete this line. If we actually want to get rid of this whole logo up here, we can delete this line. That would get rid of that whole logo. And if you want to make the entire source of this page completely obscure so that no one knows really what this is, then you can get rid of all the HTML. Alright, that means if someone goes and looks at the page source down here, they won't see anything at all. By removing that link, I'll show this to you again. We won't see, we won't have the links. They'll be commented out. Well, actually, they won't be commented out, but they won't be here. But there'll still be some other references to the fact that it's a cloud service appliance. And if you don't like that, then you can just delete all of the contents of the file. For this example, I'm just going to get rid of that one line so that we don't have the links. So I deleted that, saving it, We'll minimize that. We'll open this guy up again. Keep in mind, if I try to upload this, I'm going to click overwrite, and it's going to kick back at me again because I didn't permission this appropriately. So I need to go into my CSA with PuTTY quickly. Okay, so I already have some settings here, just the IP or host name to your CSA. I'm going to log into my CSA. Going to elevate my rights. Going to browse down to that same directory structure, OPT, LANDESK, broker, web root. List out the files there. Again, today we only care about index.tmpl, so we're going to permission that. 777 index.tmpl. Okay, let's go back over here to FileZilla. Try to upload, overwrite, and it was successful. All right, and for this particular change, we don't have to reboot our CSA. We did in part 1, but for this particular change, we don't need to do that. So if I refresh this, I'd expect to see those get removed. Oh, you know why? Because I just uploaded our original, and that was silly. Let's upload the one that I made a change to right here. And try now. There we go. So make sure you upload the correct file. Again, you guys saw that I only deleted that one line. We still have our LANDESK logo. If we view the source, we still see more information in there. Let me go back here. All right, so just for fun, I'll delete this line too. Okay, save that. Go back to FileZilla. Upload that. Refresh this. Let's close that. Refresh this. Now the logo's gone. Someone can still look at the source though and still see that's in there. So finally, we'll just take it all out. Yeah, of course you could change this. You could be tricky and say SCCM server. I don't know, whatever you want. But well, we can completely eliminate stuff. And lastly, we'll upload one more time. Overwrite. Let's close this, refresh. Okay, it's still blank. We don't really know what it is. If we look at the source, there is no source. All right, so I don't know what this thing is. There's something there. I don't know what it is. However, the last thing we want to show though is the services themselves aren't disabled. It's just links, just the links to them. So if I do GSP, that's the management interface. There it is. It's prompting me to authenticate, and if I did that, look at that. Alright, so I can still manage it. So the links are gone, but the services are still up and running. One thing we'll look at in the next part of this series is how to actually completely disable getting into that console. So no one can do it, which is a way of really locking down the CSA. You make your changes, you really lock down the CSA by disabling that completely. But this is, this is a way to kind of deter people from easily finding your CSA and clicking on links. Just again showing the client that still works, so those things are all still functional. Okay, the last part you'd want to do when you're done making your settings changes is going back to your session here and permissioning that file back so that it can't be manipulated. Okay, so that's it. Now you've seen how to completely make this guy kind of somewhat transparent and visible, not so obvious as to what it is. That was the goal. We removed the links, we removed the logo, and obviously from that you can derive other things you could do, like change the links or change your logo. But we'll also be touching on that in other parts of this series. So once again, thanks for joining, thanks for viewing this. There'll be a document that supports this and walks you through it as well if you want to view that. So yeah, that's it. Thanks and have a great day.